Everyone, I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor.
Hello, everyone.
And all
Welcome
of our
to the
guests
Kim
that come
Jacobs
on,
Show.
they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Kim Jacobs Show. You all see these women here. Can you hear me, Sunshine Expert? Okay. You all see these women here, and guess who they are? Some of our Freestyle Friday experts. So welcome Dr. Jody Bear, America's top health coach. How are you?
I'm awesome because I'm with you on Freestyle Friday.
And I'm happy to hear that you are, what is it that's happening over there? Right quick, tell us.
The offshoot of a roof that wasn't repaired correctly from Hurricane Ian. We are displaced from our home for a few weeks, but the good news is that I'm broadcasting from a hotel lobby, and here we are.
And you're still here, showing up, making what? Athena, our Sunshine Expert, unmute yourself, and she's making what?
She is not making any excuses. She's getting the job done. She is in the building, regardless of what, no matter what the situation, she is still winning.
And that is from our Sunshine Expert, who's going to be talking about no excuses today. And Dr. Jody Bear is going to be talking about confidence tones, and you're going to learn a lot more about that. And we want to make sure that no matter what Dr. Jody Bear is going through, what's on her plate, what's on her mental plate, that she doesn't experience something as well as you, Athena, or myself, or anybody in the virtual studio audience, that we don't experience what, Natasha Halliday?
Burnout.
That's what our mental health expert, Natasha Halliday, is going to be talking about today. How to prevent burnout. So you guys, we are in for a tremendous treat right here on the Kim Jacobs Show, and I am encouraging you to share this broadcast between learning about confidence tones, burnout, and how to make no excuses. You're going to be on a wonderful roller coaster ride, raising your hands and saying, wee, because we're going to learn so much. So we feel a little bit more uplifted and edified by the end of today's episode. We'll be right back, everyone, right after our first episode sponsor and commercial break from attorney Hunter and Everidge Law Firm. We'll be right back. And then we're going to get started, ladies. Let's see who we want to start with first. Oh, boy. I don't know. Who wants to go first? Okay. It's like you. You know what? Let's start with the confidence tones. I want to start with confidence tones today. And then we'll go right to our no excuses and then how to avoid burnout. I think we should end on that, how to avoid burnout. All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Y'all are hearing like the behind the scenes conversation. Okay, we could have talked about that backstage. We'll be right back. We'll be back.
When someone has lost a loved one, they want to know what exactly happened. They want to know, is the other person going to be held responsible? And they want closure. At Hunter and Everidge, we help clients that have lost a loved one move on, and to do that with dignity and respect that they deserve.
Today, we are bringing balance to the world, one household at a time. We are talking with our Freestyle Friday experts, who's kind enough to join us in today's studio audience. And today's episode is sponsored by Hunter Everidge Law Firm. Give them a call if you're in the Alabama area, the Richmond, Virginia area, the Charlotte, North Carolina, and Carolinas area, South or North Carolina. Give them a call at 704-251-2945 and let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. All right, who's tuning in right now before we kick off with our first expert? And hopefully you all have shared this broadcast. I see some of our experts in right now. So what we're going to do is just also take a moment to just share the broadcast and let everybody know that it's time to hear about confidence tones. I'm going to play the commercial, if you don't mind, Dr. Jody, first.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And then
Good
we're
idea.
going to jump right into the discussion with you. All right. We'll be right back after we learn about what we're going to be talking about right after this break.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary
we're going to probably play that again too, because once you hear what Dr. Jody Bear is saying pertaining to confidence tones, you're going to learn even more. But I do want you to know that for more information about confidence tones, you're going to be able to go to Dr. Jody Bear's website, and I'll put this information right in the comment section. You'll be able to call a 1-800 number, and we're going to learn more about that after we hear from Dr. Jody Bear herself. Talk to us, Dr. Jody.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you for the opportunity for us with this project and with this part of what I do, an associated company that we are now partnered with the Kim Jacobs Show. I'm so honored to be one of your sponsors with this. And why is this important? For those of you that don't know me, I am Dr. Jody Bear, known as America's top foundational health coach. For over 4 decades, I've had the privilege of bringing over 30,000 clients through over 1 million pounds of toxic fat loss. And in the COVID era, and this is when this was developed, over 3,000 people have reclaimed, regained, and restarted their health. Now, I'm going to make a medical claim. There is no medical claims on this, because the body put in the right condition can and will heal itself. And this is what Confidence Tones does. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that Chinese medicine, all the years, you go ahead and pay your doctor if you stay well. But if you go ahead and get sick, the doctor pays you. And finally, the time has arrived to do exactly that, exactly what we're talking about here in Western medicine. The time has arrived because frequency, we talk about keeping your energy high and frequency high. Well, energy creates vitality, as I've said many, many times on the Kim Jacobs Show. And I apologize about you might hear some background noise.
We don't hear any noise. All we hear is you.
Wonderful, wonderful. But it's energy creates vitality, which transcends to longevity. You only have a certain amount of energy. So how do you replenish? Natasha's going to be talking about in a minute, and it just so goes together, because if your brain is going like this, you have cognitive dissonance. That's like going down the wrong way on the street. How about if we went ahead and went parallel? You went with the traffic flow. That's what brain entrainment does. When we say feel better, do better, live better, I'm so happy that I was able to give input on this program, on this product, and doing this cognitive dissonance. You see, I had a personal situation 15 years ago when I was in an auto accident.
Okay.
I was hit by a drunk driver. I had no short-term memory. They said, brain gone. But remember that muscle memory, the body can and will put in the right condition, heal itself. I used anti-inflammatories. I used what I believe a modality of acupuncture. It was my acupuncture physician. He said, have you ever thought about doing binaural beats? That's what all was around back 15 years ago. I listened to this 3 times a day, and through the detoxification process that you've heard me talk about prior on other Kim Jacobs shows. 45 days later, when somebody said, hi, I'm Natasha Holiday. Hi, I'm Athena Robertson. I would have to pull up and say, oh, that was Natasha. And Athena, it started coming back. You can retrain your brain. So let me ask you this. Do you know anyone who's been through trauma? Just put it in the chat. Do you know somebody who's been through trauma?
Yes.
Do you know someone who has stress in their life, anxiety, insomnia, even chronic conditions like fibromyalgia, just chronic pain? We've created a brain entrainment program. Now, I'm not making any medical claims. No. One for cancer client patients. We've done one for diabetes. We've got one with weight loss. I'm telling you, the cortisol just drips off of your body and you just feel great, because it says feel better, do better, live better. You name it, a condition is on there. Now, you've heard me talk about the 6 pillars of human existence: spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. We created in Confidence Tones mastery, with a 6-pillar mastery of all those areas, how would it feel to be in your body a perfect 10 in all 6 pillars of your life? How about if you knew if you had an abusive relationship, and with 21 days, which is the reticular activating system going through, and that system that keeps going and going and going, and you have that program of 21 days that you could go and enter in and restore your mental capacity, then enter into a new phase of brain improvement. Remember, muscle memory, you have it with your gallbladder, your back, your heart, your liver, your brain too. But it starts with the brain. And then you can elevate. What would happen in 21 days? I've seen it over and over and over in clients, because the subconscious mind, and then I'll open it up for any questions, Kim. The subconscious mind is the mind that neither slumbers nor sleeps. So if it's going like crazy like this, and then you say, but I really want to do better, and this is up here and this is not here, confidence tones brings it all together and brings them too. And that's when you do better, feel better through. Remember, I said 15 years ago, I only had my own personal experience with binaural beats. These are made now, the 2.0, 3.0 version, alpha, beta, binaural beats, isochronic tones, theta, and every other level and letter of the alphabet. You can retrain your brain. That's the topic of today. You can retrain your brain. So when you retrain your brain, how are you going to feel physically? How are you going to feel emotionally in your relationships? Let me tell you what Bob Bear and I were going through with this relocation from mold remediation. I put on that stress and anxiety relief. I said, we're going to listen to this. Then we listened to a quick 10-minute tone of positivity. And we came out and just hugged each other. Now that's worth the price of tea, isn't it, in China or any other place? So back to you, Kim. I know you have some questions. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, I'm actually intrigued for us to open it up for some discussion. And even here on the panel, I know I have questions and thoughts. Many times when I hear people talk from a confidence tones or an energy perspective, the reason I sometimes stay, I'm only being totally transparent here. This is me, Kim. The reason I stay clear of some of it sometimes is because it's usually linked to something spiritual. And so for me, I'm only representing Kim Jacobs, y'all. Y'all can represent yourselves. But whenever I think of it, I think of, am I going into the realm of dealing with something from a spirituality perspective? And I know what I believe, and I feel like straight, this is what I believe. But I also, and then this is where I'm riding the fence. I hope God don't spew me out of his mouth. Because I'm being probably lukewarm. Pray my strength in the Lord. But the other piece is that everything that you're saying, Dr. Jody, of being able to retrain the brain. And when I study retraining the brain, some things like being aware of my thoughts and turning negative thoughts that's kind of permeating and trying to plague and bog my brain down into something that's more productive. Understanding what actually causes me to even be in this mindset. What's burning me out? What's aggravating? It's so many different things that come to mind. What are your thoughts pertaining to that?
I totally agree, because I am a spiritual being. I know what I believe. Now, I'm coming from the healing and medical side of things, being a health coach and holistic nutritionist. See, I'm not half-listic, Kim, Natasha, ladies and gentlemen, Athena. No, I am holistic. You get down and you pull the dandelion up by the root so it doesn't come back. This is what you're doing. So you're giving a new pathway for that brain. If you had trauma in your life, if you've had any kind of a chronic illness, like I said, if you have problems with sleeping, yes, you can take even an herb, a remedy, but that's half-listic. What is causing your brain not to relax enough to get into that REM sleep? And then the tones create that. I'm glad you like that. I'm holistic, not half-holistic. So,
I put that up. I was like, okay, I have to type that. I'm not typing too much today, but I have to type that.
So you get into that into that pathway, into that stream of the river. So you're not like a salmon swimming upstream. You're not going against the current. You're going with the flow of life, how your brain is supposed to be. And then you retrain your brain. I'm going to come back to trauma because that is so important. You see so much of this in mental illness. And I just spoke at a virtual event last week for the National Association of Mental Illness. It's rampant. It's pandemic since the pandemic. So what if you could train and use the circadian rhythm of 21 days to retrain and go into your brain to figure out what in the Sam heck is still there from that trauma, because your brain remembers. Remember, the subconscious doesn't slumber or sleep. And then you could put in new, like, it's like, what are you doing oftentimes when you're half holistic? I'm going to give a spiritual reference from the good book.
Tell me.
Our creator said, we don't put new wine in old wineskins.
Correct.
Then you go ahead, you're building a new wineskin, then you're putting brand new wine in that wineskin that's going to hold something brand new. And then guess what? The drink is going to be so sweet once you've entered, and then you've elevated to a new level. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Like, if you're going to go out, as I've done so many times, run marathons, train for something or whatever, you have to train that muscle. Your son, Ivan, who's going to be my guest on Mindset Money, I'm so excited to have him in 2 weeks.
He's excited too.
That you have to train that muscle to do that thing. If it's just like this, it's not going to know what to do. And then you just feed it pills and drills and modalities, because you've heard me say surgeries, herbal remedies, pills, therapies don't cure, but the body put in the right condition can and may heal itself. You're putting the body in the right condition to restore, reclaim. And like my husband said, there's even one, I'll say this because I turned 69 last month. I can say that there is.
You look amazing. Wait, you can't just brush past that.
Okay.
You are 69.
69.
You look amazing to
Thank
be that
you.
age. So whatever holistic, not half holistic methods you're using, it's working. It's working wonderfully. So
because that's what it's all about. And this birthday is not called 69. It's called 60 done.
60
I'm done.
done.
I'm done. It's not, but what I'm saying is that I created for senior adults one for its memory, to regain memory, to go ahead. How about if you pray something in the morning? And my husband, with the stress, because stress is really, after inflammation, stress causes all disease. Of course, then we have parasites. We have one for parasite elimination that with my mastermind that's starting on the 13th, you get that modality for free. And I will say, with the cost, with anyone on the show goes ahead and reaches out to me at 800-852-0850, purchases any program on confidence tones, you get a tape from me. Or if you choose to get it 10 minutes free, I'm going to do this for this next 2 weeks as being a sponsor of the Kim Jaker Show. Because when you do better, and because you're feeling better, you will live better. And we're going to do it together. All right. So you get a 10-minute consultation from me for free if you go ahead and purchase these confidence tones. But check this out for a minute. If you think, okay, I know I've got a condition. Let's say pick a condition. Athena, Natasha, pick a condition. Kim, give me one.
I don't just any
Heart
people.
disease.
People have joint pain,
pain,
diabetes, cancer.
Yes. So you've got back pain or whatever. There is just one with back pain that you listen to, and it's really best, as they say, to do it with headphones. Do it in a quiet place, because it really can mess up your driving if you do it while you're driving.
No, I won't.
There's a disclaimer that you listen there. What's 10 minutes worth? Well, what if it didn't work, but at least you had 10 minutes of downtime? Would that help you in your body? Sure. If you've got a situation, I've got a client making no medical claims now, triple negative breast cancer. All right. She has been listening to the brain entrainment. Guess what happened? She is now up on her walker and she's doing the Qigong walk that I talk for the autonomic nervous system. Maybe she's just doing 5 minutes, but she's doing 5 minutes. That's more than she did the day before. So I can say when you have a situation, because this is what I'm going to end with, and I hope it was helpful.
It's been very helpful, enlightening.
In my last few minutes, if doesn't life on us? Who feels that? Put it in the chat. Life's on us. I didn't think 5 weeks ago I was going to wake up to having Niagara Falls happening through my personal closet.
Can't predict those things.
And a third of my wardrobe. Oh, well, it's time to get new stuff. All right. So when life's on you, what tools do you have? See, in this world, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a stress-filled world, we don't know what we don't know until you know. Now you know. You have a tool in your toolbox. You can have this once you get a program, which is about the whole program, just price-wise, is about what you would pay for one of my hourly consultations. It's really affordable. Then you go ahead and you have this tool to know. You turn on that tool. What happens to your stress? What happens to your day? What happens to your life? We even have a whole program. I know this sounds like a commercial, but it's so amazing what it has done for elite athletes and for people that have this high intensity. Ever feel like stage fright? If you're going to be speaking, you turn the HD max vibration tone and you feel like King Kong or Wonder Woman. It just makes
right now we don't have, I don't have the feeling until I probably experience whatever you're talking about, because I feel a little bit of tension in my shoulder blades. So I'm like, what? You feel like King Kong over there? I need to get some of this going.
And I find so what I'm saying, reach out. And the other program that I have going on right now, you've heard me talk about parasites like 9,000 times. Inflammation is the number one cause of disease, but under that is stress. But what is stress and inflammation caused from those parasites?
Perfect.
330,000 of them on planet Earth. 30,000 of them can be around human beings, and 300 of them at any one given time in your body. I only do this twice a year. It's the pristine clean. It's 21 days. What that program does, it will eradicate the parasites. With this, you get the confidence tones that we've created program. So you can play that, because people do cleansing, people do detoxes, but homeopathy is very precise. It's not like Spanx, ladies, that you wear one size fits most. A man would not wear one size of a jockstrap. It's got to fit. Okay, so if that's the case, you've got to make sure that you go ahead and get the precise way to do this, and then you can go ahead and once for life, you do that, my program, you can do it for the rest of your life. Guaranteed. This is what happens when you retrain your brain.
That's good. As
Einstein said 70 years ago, even the Mayo brothers, when they created the Mayo Clinic, it's on Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida, because I live in Florida, in Rochester, in Phoenix. It says the doctors of today will use no medicines. They will teach the patient how to heal themselves. And that's what we do with Confidence Tones. Thank you, Kim, for this platform. Reach out to me. It is drjodee.com, and it's JODEE.com. That's me. I'm here to heal you from your poop to your brain. And this time I'm saying it is through Confidence Tones.
All right. Wow. That was extremely enlightening. And if you all have questions, make sure you all reach out to Dr. Jodee Bear. And I put in the comments section already the phone number. I'm going to pop it up again, because it's a way for you to stay connected and learn more about what she's offering. So here you are. It's 1-800. Where is it? Yeah. 1-800-852-0854. 1-800-852-0854 for all of you podcast listeners as well over on iHeartRadio. That's the number for you. And you can also visit her at drjodee.com, drjodee.com/confidence-tones to get the Confidence Tones program. Wow. Okay. We're going to keep right on moving along. And I saw people putting comments over here. We'll go back towards the end and revisit some of the comments so we can keep moving. Let's go ahead and pop our sunshine expert up, which is Athena Robertson. Athena, talk to us and tell us what you have for us today about making no excuses.
No excuses. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to all my beautiful queens on the platform. Always, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you to my sister Kim. Always giving honor to God who's ahead of my life.
Yes,
And for
preach,
this
girl.
day, this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And so I truly thank Dr. Jody Bear for sharing with us about how to train our brain, how to let go all of the overlay of yuck in our brain and just getting a fresh start with confident tones. So that was some awesome tips, Dr.
Yes.
Jody. We truly appreciate you. Today I come to you talking about no excuses. Stop with the shortcuts.
You muted yourself.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
good. That's, I was like, girl,
Okay.
you done leaned on the wrong button, girl. You getting comfy. Go ahead.
I was getting comfortable. You cannot pursue a journey if you're trying to take shortcuts, because shortcuts are going to get you caught up. No excuses mean if you make excuses, it's never going to get done.
That's
But
right.
if you stay the course, then you always winning. And we know, y'all know, coming from the sunshine expert, you stay winning when you stay the course. You stay winning when you stay focused. You stay winning when you do what you're supposed to do and don't worry about nobody else. You stay
That's
in
right.
your lane, everything else go perfect. So let's talk about it. Shortcuts. How many of you know, and we all do it sometimes, we could take shortcuts to get home. We might decide to cut down a side street. Maybe one day it might be, God forbid, we pray there's no accidents, but it could be a lot of traffic going on a side street just because the
Right.
main street was crowded. I've done it. I know everybody else could probably attest to it, have done it. And once you go down that side street, we still sitting in traffic.
Yeah.
We're gonna still be sitting in traffic. So it might delay our journey about 5 minutes. When if we would have stayed on the main
Or
street,
30 minutes or an hour, depending upon how much traffic.
that is true. That is true because traffic be crazy. That is true. But the side street, if you take it, you're taking a shortcut, but it's still going to take you a while to get to where you're going.
Right.
Period. Point blank. Or if we have something to do, if we have projects to do, and if we done the project before,
Mhm.
we try to create shortcuts that's going to try to get us to finish quicker, and it might delay us because we might forget a step.
Yep.
We might forget a step. You might forget to put a title. You might forget what time that was supposed to be set for this project.
Hmm.
So, taking these shortcuts, what happens is it get us caught up.
Hmm.
It will get us caught up. Prime example, working with students. Tell all the students you want to study, prepare for the test, get a good night rest, eat a good, healthy, balanced breakfast. Come in ready to go. If you're going to come in the morning, Dr. Jody laughing because she know, eat a balanced, healthy, balanced breakfast. Get your good sleep. Make sure you got your outfit out the night before. I'm just throwing out some things that will prepare you on this journey. You know you have a test coming up. You want to make sure that you already got gas in your car.
Hydrate, drink plenty of water.
Drink, drink your H2O and stay in your lane, like my sister said. True. But what happens is when students come in, some of them look discombobulated. Of course, you're sunshine expert. This is where I come in at. I always greet you good morning, and I'm always going to ask you, how may I help you? How may I assist you today? And sometimes I get the blank stare, and I'm like, okay, let's try this again.
Right.
Whether it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Hey, how you doing? How may I help you? And I'm so glad you came. I might get the blank stare. So that lets me know, especially if I seen this student the day before and I have already prepped you the day before. I was trying to help you out on your journey. So I have to, now they're going to work me a little extra hard this morning because now I got to pull it out of them. And that's quite all right. No worries. That's what I am here for. But I just wish you would have prepared and not took the shortcut. Maybe you didn't go to bed on time. Maybe you didn't eat your breakfast. Some come in there rushing because they might have left just a couple minutes late. So I have to encourage them. I have to I call it people building. I'm going to build you up. I'm going to fill you with so much confidence. I'm going to shower you with so much love. I'm going to let all this liquid sunshine that we're having in the Queen City today and the sunshine, I'm going to let it shower you so that I get your mind ready, get your mindset ready. Because again, like Dr. Jody Bear was saying, we have to, how we train our brain, how we relax our brain, how we continue to stay prepared is how what type of things do we feed in our brain. And so here it is. If you take a shortcut, the shortcut will get you caught up. Are you going to get all that you deserve taking the shortcut? Are you going to get all that you deserve taking the shortcut? Are you going to get all that you need to set out to accomplish if you take a shortcut? If you make excuses, because excuses is just going to carry you over to the next lie, you telling yourself not to do it, or you can't do this, or you can't do that. That's going to carry on into another excuse. And then here it is. Now you got about 10 excuses. 10 excuses. Which one is going to get you to your goal? None. Because they're excuses. So you're not going to go anywhere. Not at all. Not at all. So what you lose is you might lose your confidence. You're gonna lose the motivation to move forward. And you're gonna probably experience a minor setback. It could be minor or it could be major, depending on what you're working on. And with those things, now we have to, as humans, because we do it, we think we have more time to do it. You have to rework yourself even more harder to accomplish what you set out to do. And that's going to take more time. So will you reach your deadline or will you be behind in your deadline? So if you stay the course, if you stay going in the right direction, don't go left, don't go right, stay in the middle. And it's okay to glance, that's fine, but keep moving. Don't stop. You know how if we're driving down the street and you might pass by the store, I'm just hypothetically saying, y'all, and you see the brand new dress, that banging bag, or them popping shoes, that don't mean we got to stop. That is not for us to stop. That is called window shopping. You look, yeah, I'm going to keep on going because if I stop, I'm going to get caught up. I'm not going to take my credit card out. No, I was already going to treat myself to something else. So I'm not gonna deter from what's in front of me, because in front of me, since we're talking about items that the ladies like to pop, and even our gentlemen, I'm not gonna stop because it could be a banging purse up at the end of the tunnel. Them new shoes that I really wanted, I'm coming to get those. If I stay the course, I'm going straight ahead, because if I stop, I'm gonna get some shoes, but it ain't probably gonna be the ones I want. It just if you're window shopping, the gifting of the item looks fancy, is what is eye-catching, right? But is it really fancy though? Okay, so I'm just saying, I just came to talk to y'all about, hey, no more excuses. Cut the shortcuts. Stay the course, because if you stay the course, you're winning. We are in our winning season. Yesterday I heard Apostle Paul Day say, we are in March gladness. There is no madness. You got to watch what you speak, watch what you say. We are in March Madness. We are winning. We are in the third month of 2023. And we are winning on top of winning on top of winning. And it's okay to do a little bit of browsing. I'm not going to say stop and look, just browsing, but keep moving. And that way you're going to fulfill all that you need to fulfill. You're going to get your project done by the deadline. And this journey, once you complete it, the victory of you winning, it is so much greater when you started. When you started, I'm super excited. When I had a chance to start on this talk show, when my sister invited me on this talk show, who, me? Oh, okay, this is amazing. This is going to be great. This has opened up so many opportunities that I would have never thought of. What the hell? Thank you, God. I would have never thought of. I've met so many beautiful people. And not only that, not only am I an inspiration, but they have inspired me. By me meeting Dr. Jody, she inspired me holistically about being healthy. Yeah. Healthy without dumping a whole bunch of medicine in my body. Think about it.
Who doesn't want that, right?
Right. I have met my sister, Natasha Holiday. She has inspired me mental health wise,
Yes.
how to stay on top of our mental health and knowing when to say it's not okay. It's not okay, but I will be okay. And I'm going to be all right because I have a group of supporters. And my sister Kim, she gave us this beautiful platform to share with millions and millions of people the things that we encounter, the testimonies that we have witnessed, is also to be the witness of other people's testimonies, just to know that she's out here balancing one life at a time, and she's touched so many lives. But it's been a pleasure. And so, as your sunshine expert, cut out the excuses,
Wow.
cut out the shortcuts, stay the course, so we can stay winning.
Wow. Pandemonium. Okay, listen. Let me let me just say that was just incredible information. And the next step right there, you started off on the main floor, you went up to the next step with the no excuses. And what we're going to do is look at any studio audience comments, see what's come in so far. If you have questions about how you can get unstuck and get out of excuse mode, ask some of these questions while we're right here talking to these experts. Dr. Jody Bear is making it clear that there are some ways that we can just try it, see if it can work. Put some headphones on and just put some kind of positive excitement and just relaxing your thoughts. Just honing in on some positive thoughts that you may have versus all of the minutia that's happening around the world and the outside environment that tries to filter into our brains. It's some great stuff being shared here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So you all make sure you ask any questions. I'll do everything I can to get them answered. And if you all as experts see some questions coming in, let me know and I'll pop them up as well. In the meantime, what we're going to do is stay the course. I see you, Justine Hilliard said. Great job, great information. We're going to take a commercial break and come back and hear from Natasha Halliday. I refuse to let the hour go by without making sure we get ample time for each of our experts. Is this good, this format? Y'all like this better? Okay, because normally I have like 5, 6, 7. I'm trying to cut it down to about 3 at a time and give y'all the whole free reign. All right, everybody, we're going to take another commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from Natasha Halliday.
I have peace of mind with Silver Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment or home or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
Everyone, we're back and we're talking with Natasha Halliday, our mental health expert, right here on the Kim Jacobs Show. She's visiting in all the way from Canada. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies. Always a pleasure to be on Freestyle Fridays and talk. I just love to talk all kinds of things mental health. And I love the synchronicity. There is stuff that Dr. Jody said. There's stuff that Athena said. And I'm like, y'all just, it's like we plan this in advance when we don't.
But you don't, right? Isn't that crazy?
So today I wanted to talk about burnout. Specifically, the funny thing is I like to speak on burnout as it relates to work, but I just want to look at burnout in general when we're feeling burnt out in life. And what is burnout? You know, we know there's times when we're tired or even feeling exhausted, but burnout takes us beyond that. Part of the things that help you know that you're burnt out is you're losing zeal for the things you normally have zeal for. Maybe there's a bit of cynicism that kicks in. There's just, you're not tapping in. There's a disconnect that's happening when you're burnt out. You're at the point where you can't appreciate the things that you appreciate about your life, right? And the way that I think about it is if we think about ourselves like, you know, something with a tank, our tank is like, we're running on E. And how many times do we feel like we're running on E, but we keep going? We're trying to run on fumes. And one of the things that I hear so much that makes me laugh is when we say, I don't have time to be sick. Who scheduled sickness? Who would plan for it?
It decides that you've done plenty to lead up to this. So you
Sickness
must
is
have had time
communicating
for
you're
it.
doing the most. You need to stop potentially, right? You need to take a break. So I wanted to look a little bit at when we're at that point, when we are feeling burnt out, when we're just like, what is going on? Why I can't connect the way I do. I don't enjoy things. I'm feeling maybe cynical or just,
Mm.
just on autopilot. How do we get back? And a lot of times we think about burnout from that physical standpoint. Absolutely, you got to address the physical part. But what I love to do, especially as a mental health expert, is look at how we unintentionally contribute to our burnout by what we allow to sit in our minds. So the first thing I ask people to do is check in with yourself. I'm not 20, so I remember the tuner radios where you had to turn and try and get it in line so you could hear clarity.
Right.
I often associate checking in with trying to tune your dial till you get to that place of clarity. The static is an indication that you're not in alignment yet. So you want to get clear about what's going on with you.
Wow.
And so checking in with yourself to say, what's my perspective? What are my thoughts saying about this thing? Right? One thing I experienced a lot, I work as a therapist, and sometimes I would be counseling people and they were struggling during the pandemic. And there was a perspective or a thought process of, this is worse for me. This is only happening to me, even though we knew it was a global experience. How are we to feel any sort of reprieve when our mind is telling us that? And the thing is, we can't control every thought that comes into our mind. So I'm not saying you control all your thoughts, but when it comes, what do you do with it? And I like to do a visualization with my clients about if a negative thought that you have, like this is only happening to me, comes knocking at your door, do you invite it in, make it tea or coffee, sit down with it, hang out with it? And people always say, well, of course not. But we don't recognize that's what we're doing mentally. The thought comes in and we sit there entertaining the thought, and we actually make the thought comfortable. We put its feet up, we offer it a warm blanket, we put the fireplace on, we make it a tea. We don't even realize we're like chilling and hanging out with this thought.
Right.
So this is part of why burnout can get as bad as it is, because if the thought comes, that's one thing. But one, you want to examine your perspective to see how accurate that thought was, because thoughts aren't always accurate. But what am I also doing to release it? So I always love to do this. I got my jar of water here, right? Dr. Jody's always telling us to keep our water up, right? Now look at how high this is. If this was my stress level, I only have this much capacity for what's to come. If this were my thought process and all of this was negative thoughts, no wonder I'm getting so stressed out, because I'm full of those negative thoughts.
Right.
So it's like I said, we can't control everything that comes, but are we pouring it out? Are we doing things to release the things that don't serve us? Are we asking ourselves, is there another way to see this? Because sometimes the way we see it isn't the most accurate way to see it.
Oh.
I went into the shop on Monday to get an oil change. Simple thing, right? I'm near the end of my extended warranty. They're like, we're going to do a diagnostic and see what we can get done under extended warranty so you don't have to pay out of pocket. Awesome. Yes, we found something, but it's causing an issue that's not covered under warranty. So I go back and spend 10 times more than I was originally spending. And I was like, where's that coming from? And I remember getting stressed out initially and then saying, pause. What are your options? Because part of what I had to figure out was, how was I going to get home in between, because my car was going to be in the shop all day. I was looking at rented cars. I was looking at this. And there was a moment where the way I was allowing my thoughts to get worked up was almost like the way you get a frappe frothing in a hot beverage. I was just letting them go, and I was getting wound up. And I had to say, take a pause. The evening I was the most stressed, I said, you're not dealing with this tonight. You're going to go to sleep and you're going to wake up fresh tomorrow and you're going to address this tomorrow. What did I remember the next day? My dealership sometimes offers loaners. So I've arranged service for when I can get a loaner car and I'm not spending money on a rental. In the midst of my fury thinking, I wasn't accessing that stuff. But it goes to show, when your mind is cluttered with all the negative, with all the stuff, it's like being in a crowded room. How do you even navigate your way through it? You got to get that stop to get, okay, I got to clear and sift through some things. Does this need to be here? We talk about decluttering our house. Do we ever look at, how do we declutter our minds? Right? So we want to be releasing thoughts that don't serve us. If you're feeling burnt out, one thing I've noticed is the language of I have to. I have to do this. I have to do that. Do we actually have to do all the things we say we have
Nope.
to? Or do we have to do them all at that time? So it's important to evaluate, what can I put down? What can I put on hold? What can wait for tomorrow? What can wait a month? What can I delegate if there's an opportunity to delegate? Can I give somebody with this so I don't have to?
Please, you.
Right? Checking, is there an opportunity to take a break if you need a break? How do you, and sometimes we get caught in the self-care is a weekend at a spa. Sometimes you can do something for 5 minutes and it's a little bit of that pouring out, or it's pouring in something that's good.
Yes.
I was on a live, I do Fearless Fridays on Instagram some Friday afternoons. And I was talking in a live about the fact that I was upset about, the funny thing is you barely remember afterwards what you're upset about. But I was upset and I was trying to shift that mindset. I was like, I don't want to stay in this space. And I was like, okay, I'm trying to get rid of the thoughts, and that doesn't seem to be working right now. So I said, I'm going to pour in something that I know it's good. And I went to one of my favorite gospel singers, and me and Fred Hammond hung out for an hour, and it took an hour for that negativity to shift. But I tell you, by the time I went to bed, my spirit, my mindset was just in such a much better place. I spent time worshiping. I spent time allowing the good to be poured in, because what it does is it pushes out the other stuff. When I couldn't figure out how to release it, I said, then I need something to get it out. Somebody to come and to say, you got to go, because we're going to fill the space with something that's good.
I love that.
You want to paying attention to what's going on up here. That's part of the burnout. If you're feeling burnt out at work, how many times do you sit in the break room and have the conversation about all the stuff that's wrong with work? How is that serving you to spend time rehashing? The boss don't listen, the workload's too much. That might be a reality, but the repetition of it is not serving you.
That's right.
I
want to say one thing right there, because I wrote a book on extreme balance makeover, and some of the things I talk about is about burnout, what you're talking about there, and what are some of the signs to look for, signs of imbalance and different things of that nature. But also this is an example of right now, real life that's happening to me. And I'm going to share with you all real quick that one thing that stresses me is when my children, if they leave the house and I don't know that they're gone, that's a stressor for me. So my children know that. We have family meetings, we talk about it, and we say these are things that have to happen in order for me to have some level of mental peace and satisfaction. So right here, I just wanted to show you right here, my son is knocking on the door, and I was like, now I'm on a show right now, so why would he be tapping on the door? Guess what he was tapping on the door to say, out of courtesy. And it goes along with what you're saying, Natasha. Now, what did you just ask me?
I just tapped on the door and said, I'm about to go to the gym. So I just wanted to let her know so she's not stressing out.
Thank you. You're free to go. Okay. I just wanted to interject that, because when I say I balance my own life, and I don't always share tips here, you're free to go, sweetie. Thank you. But I don't always share tips on the show because I'm interviewing you all. I'm living this thing called life as well. And everything that I teach you all to do, I implement it as well as the balance doctor. So carry right on, Natasha Halliday, with what you were saying.
Yes. And I love that. I love that example, because this is the thing. I had to remind myself when I was getting worked up this week, I had to pause and say, what would I tell clients? And what do I just know? Because we're human. We're going to have these moments where, it's amazing how quickly our minds can run amok. But I had to go back to, what am I entertaining in my thinking? How are these thoughts serving me? Right? Negative thoughts will tell you are the only one. It's worse for you. And what that does is it isolates you and sometimes debilitates you, thinking, well, if it's this bad, then I don't even need to try because nothing's going to work. So we have to challenge that mindset and ask ourselves, the last part of what I want to address is, when you're feeling burnt out, when you feel you've been doing the most and you're just running on fumes, assess your capacity. If I get in my car and I have a quarter tank of gas, I don't endeavor on driving 400 kilometers. Sorry, I live in Canada.
Right. You done turned everything around, girl.
Right? So I know that I don't have enough gas in my tank to take a long distance drive with a quarter tank of gas. Mm-hmm. So I have to fill my tank knowing how far it can carry me. That's right. We aren't always doing this in our lives. We feel like we don't have choice, but there's some areas where we do. Yeah. And it's us unhooking from that obligation which obligation can be very unpleasant. We can lock ourselves into things we don't need to be locked in. And asking ourselves, what do I have capacity for? And how can I proceed accordingly? So I might have the same phone call in a week. Both phone calls can say, can you do ... My response is not based on what I think of the person. My response is based on my capacity. Do I have the capacity right now to pour out? Or am I running so low that I have nothing to pour out with? And it's not a lack of love. It's not a lack of anything. It's just, I have to know that if I try to pour out of my empty vessel, I'm the one trying to deal with recovering from that. So assess your capacity, proceed accordingly, do what you can. We often try to do way more. And unfortunately, that's become the culture. And I listen to the language, be on your hustle. I'm on my grind. We do these things that reinforce habits and mindsets that are not good for us. Why are we glorifying working beyond what's necessary, working beyond what makes sense? What I realized when I used to work at one job and I'd be like, I'm just going to stay an hour later so I can tackle a bit more. It's like people sensed it. So I would come into work thinking I was ahead of the game the next day, and I had twice as many emails.
Right.
So what progress had I made? So I was like, no, I'm going to work my hours. I'm going to do a great job in that time, but I don't necessarily need to work overtime in an attempt to catch up, because there will always be more.
Yes.
So part of dealing with the burnout is assessing what needs to be done, what you can put down, what are you capable of in any given moment? And how do you advocate for your own needs? Because we're so busy sometimes taking care of others. This is why we run on fumes. We forget that we also need to be poured into.
That's right.
So those are my thoughts on burnout.
I love it. Oh my gosh. I know you all, I know you all go and you hear conferences and you hear international speakers. Well, I beg to differ that yes, all of them are phenomenal. If you've been to some of these wonderful conferences, I'm taking notes and I'm applying what I'm learning from these wonderful experts across the world. But right here in the studio audience of the Kim Jacobs Show, we have experts like these that come on Freestyle Fridays, and you all should have your notepads out, or at least typing it over in the comment section what your takeaways are. If you have any questions, Natasha Halliday, how do they stay connected with you? I see at Natasha Halliday.
So yes, on IG, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Facebook at Natasha A. Halliday. My website's natashahalliday.com. Yeah, people can get in touch, ask me questions. I'm loving this. I'm seeing some stuff in the comments and people are talking about.
Let's pull it up. Wait a minute. So at Natasha Halliday, or
Natasha A. Halliday, which is there with my name, or my website's www.natashahalliday.com, which has just recently been revamped. So I used to have more just a landing page, but now I actually have a full-fledged website.
All right, this is awesome. I'm putting that up. Let's go to some of the comments. You can read one of them while I'm typing this back here for you. I felt like I was your representatives back here. I was typing your comments. I did a good job, by the way. So even when nobody else pats you on the back, you pat yourself, right? You're like, hey, girl, you did it. All right.
Yeah, so I see Lisa Thomas has said here, yes, we must refill our tanks often. I love it. Athena echoed, do what you can and not press to overwork you, right? Justine Hilliard said, that's true. As parents, we sometimes overdo trying to prove our love. And I want to touch on that. One of the things that I found very interesting was a client telling me about planning for March break with her children. And she planned so much. I said, did you miss that break was one of the words? Your kids are going to come out of March break tired. And as she thought about it, part of what drove her was social media. Now people posting what they're doing. It's like, I need to show I'm that parent too. But you know, what's funny is my best memories with my parents growing up were not when we were doing the most. It was just being in their presence, hanging out, catching jokes, silly things we did. Like Friday nights was girls' movie night. My poor dad, because it was like me, my sister, and my mom. We would do makeup. We would, you know, wear our fanciest pajamas. We would do a whole thing and kind of left my dad off to the side. But those are the things that fed my soul as a child. It wasn't what trips they took us on. It wasn't, I remember getting lessons for things. That just adds to work because a child's work is school. We're burning out children sometimes thinking being a good parent means we're going to put them in this, we're going to put them in that. And then we're exhausted too because we're running around every evening after work, picking this one up, doing this. I remember one parent saying, I'm tired of giving my kid takeout because we're never at home to eat. So what do you do about that?
You start eating. Did you say, we have some
to do that many activities.
Right.
Little Jimmy,
that's why I wouldn't let my children.
Swimmer, piano player, guitar player, soccer player, and gymnast. Like he just doesn't.
Right. Well, but with having 5 children, I could not, when they were all here, one is in heaven now, we know that. But when they were all here, I was like, okay, the 2 of you are going to play on the same team. I met with the coach to say this one he's a giant. He's 12 and he's 5'10". He plays up. And then bottom line, I don't care about the age, so that I can come to one game. And the same thing with other things. Either if we're going to pick a season, it's not possible for one person or 2 people to be involved with all of these different things. So if you're going to do football, then we're going to take a break for another season. Then you can pick up the next season. Find something that's offered in that season because it needs to be some type of break between it. Cannot be that we're every season we're doing something and everybody's running around in different directions. And eating, I know at my house, what we often did is these things called table topics. So if you have young children, make sure you know that the table topics are great discussion starters, conversation starters. It'll just say like, what if you were president for a day? What would you do to change the world? And the things that my children said were game changers. One said he would create like an emotion code to determine if a person was happy or sad and how we could identify that so we could help. I was like, what? That's how you think?
Fantastic idea.
You never know what your children are even thinking. Plus, your children tell on what's happening in their school day in those conversation starters, unbeknownst to them. So keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
All right. I see much love from Dennis. I see she was great. Thank you. From Justine Hilliard. I see I'm an advocate for me from Athena Robertson. Justine Hilliard said, yes, Kim, 3 or more children, we must make adjustments. You better believe it. All right. Lots of comments have come in. Woo, we have one more episode sponsor, and we're going to be ending closer to on time today. So one of our episode sponsors is the Ghana Housing Project. Right now, there is a $1.7 million housing deficit in Ghana. And if you are interested in purchasing a home or apartments there's a big undertaking that's happening there. You may want dual citizenship. And this is one of our episode sponsors, the GhanaHousingProject.com. Let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. And people in Ghana, they pay 12 to 24 months in advance for their rent and their housing. So it might be something you'd be interested in. Take a look.
Ghana has an approximately 1.7 million housing deficit. The Ghana Housing Project is marketing the ability of investors to support the housing crisis. Investors can purchase homes to relocate, a second home, or rent. Nonprofit and profit organizations can acquire a home for a family. With the recent economic growth in Ghana and the African continent, with an approximately 1.7 million housing deficit, Ghana looks to create a luxury affordable housing community to support the growing middle class with the help of Investa Group under the leadership of Dr. Owusu Kizito. Ghana was recently featured as a top 10 location in the world to retire. Investa Group has started developing in Accra and surrounding areas with a goal of up to 1 million homes featuring affordable luxury 2 bedrooms starting at $51,000 and 3 bedrooms starting at $71,000. INVG, Investa Group, and Africa Development Movement are separate companies and do not have prior affiliations with each other. Africa Development Movement does not represent the buyer or the seller and is simply marketing the Ghana Housing Project initiative. INVG will work directly with buyers with the purchase of apartments in Ghana and investing in InvestaFund LP.
Ghana Housing Project, and I'll put it in the comments section. You can take a look at GhanaHousingProject.com. Let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. Make sure you check out ConfidenceTones.com as one of our episode sponsors today as well. And make sure that you know that you can reach out to Dr. Jody Bear, who's right here today, and she's going to be able to help walk you through that very smooth process. ConfidenceTones.com. All of the information that you need is right there. And I've also put the 800 number in the comments section for you. Thank you, Dr. Jody Bear, for being one of our episode sponsors today. All right, I have to say happy birthday as we get ready to close out to this beauty right here, my own. I would say she's like a shero to me. She at the age of 14 wanted to be able to work her first job. So she actually started working a job, a real job, real paying job. And then she also is an A honor roll student. And like you're talking about burnout, Natasha, guess what? She asked mom, can I take today off from school? And the answer was 1000% yes. As hard as you work, whether it's unexcused or excused, doesn't matter. You get today off. And I gave her that. I honored that because we don't know the stress that children have sometimes. And if they ask periodically and they are an A honor roll child, 100%, sweetie, you're off today. Happy birthday to you. She also has spoken before Congress and has helped with bills that are being passed on behalf of people that battle cystic fibrosis. And so I just want to say happy birthday to my own Jayla Jacobs. And she turned 15 today. I want to make sure that I celebrate her. And I'll just put happy birthday, Jayla. There you are. And anybody that wants to follow more of what's happening throughout the day with her, feel free to follow me over on my Facebook page on Kim Jacobs. And we're putting different shout outs and messages from different people. She has a really big gift from her godfather, Les Brown. She hasn't received it yet because we didn't open all of her gifts yet, but she has a gift coming, and her godmother, evangelist Clara Walton, has already sent a gift, and her aunt Sadie and all her family and friends, everybody. Miss Tanya Butler, who's actually one of our homeschool coach experts, she just sent something over to Kim to my Cash App for Jayla. So anybody that's been just supporting her, all of the positive comments that's coming on text and Facebook, thank you all. You don't have to send $1. When I asked her what does she want for her birthday, guess what she said? I have everything I need. And so that was her answer. I have everything I need. And so she did not give me a list. And normally, my kids, I'd have kids, they'll give you a whole, they'd be like, this is what we want right here. She just said, I have everything I need. So that's amazing. All right, everybody. Any closing comment from each of you? And then we're going to close out. Sunshine expert, unmute yourself. Say a closing comment.
Enjoy your Friday. Stop with the excuses. Stop with the shortcuts. Stay winning. Get out of your own way and watch and see how things move for you.
All right. Dr. Jody Bear, say a closing comment.
In life, you need to oftentimes to slow down, assess, so that you can have the life that's not with cognitive dissonance to a life of nuance.
Wow. The confidence tones might really be a game changer. I think we'll see. I'm going to talk to you about some things. I'm excited about this. Okay, go ahead, Natasha.
So another reminder to check what your thoughts are saying. Pour out the negative and pour in the positive. So do your best to release those negative thoughts. Do not entertain them because they're like monsters that grow when you feed them. Wow. You want to replace that with positivity. And if you have to externally do that, find your source. For me, gospel music, worship, things like that are some of it, but find your way to pour in the positive, the healthy thinking, and release the negative.
Oh my gosh, y'all. Y'all are brilliant experts. Brilliant. Michael Freeland, DJ Mike, if y'all have not connected with him on social media, make it your business to do so today. He wrote a book about freeing your real estate, meaning not housing, your mind. That's a powerful book. He says his motto to his kids is, it's your job to make it hard for me to tell you no. Success breeds access. Yes. And I see all of your happy birthdays comments to Jayla as well. I'll pop them up as we're closing out today's episode. But everyone, I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Freestyle Friday experts. You're marvelous. And we will see you all again on Monday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show. Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you and make it a great day.